Hello and welcome back to Learn to Play the Violin. And today we're going to have a look at Lesson 2, which was put out on the 12th of July 2012, which is a fairly long time ago. But as I said in the previous video, because these lessons are for total beginners, and you would usually expect people to have moved on a little bit after they've learned the basics, then I'm sure that there's a new generation of young violinists or even old violinists that are wanting to look for a site that can show them the very, very basics. And lesson 2 was certainly just about that. This was all about how to get a sound out of the violin. After you put rosin on the bow, the next thing is to get a sound out of the violin. And if we look down some of the comments, some of the people, a lot of people loved this lesson. But there's a few people that had some problems. For example, this comment is about the fingers moving on the bow. So if you find that you can't get a good grip on the bow, find the grip that suits you. We're looking at fiddle playing rather than classical violin playing. So we're not looking at the actual traditional classical style. Just find something which suits you. If it suits you and you feel comfortable, then it's okay. This comment is about the bow hand slides away from the frog. The only thing that you can do is just to keep on practicing and find the position that's right for you. If you look further down, I can't get my violin tuned properly. Well, underneath the site, there's an electronic violin tuner, so you can spend as much time as you want. And don't worry, your strings aren't going to break because they're quite sturdy. And you usually got fine tuners, which help a lot. This one here, how do you know how much pressure to apply to the violin? I don't always get the right sound. That's trial and error. Practice makes, well, not perfect, but practice makes you better. And that's what you've got to do. But you've got to do practice which is genuine practice. Don't force yourself to do it. Make sure that if you're practicing, it's because you want to do it. And practice a lot, but don't practice for too long. And as soon as you get a little bit bored, stop and do something else. This one here is from Butterfly, and Butterfly says that even when I'm bowing straight, the G string is very scratchy and difficult to get that nice sound of. Yeah, join the club. A lot of people find that the actual angle that you need to hold the bow at for the G string can mean that it's scratchy. But again, the more you do something, the better you are at doing it. This one here from Butterfly also says, the strings have been on the violin for about 1.5 years unplayed. Is it possible I need to change them? No, you don't need to change the strings. What you need to do is to practice. That's about it. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the lesson. That this is a site for total beginners, and you will need to use this site, or you want to use this site if you've just bought your violin, or you've wanted to play violin and you're just thinking of buying one, and you know nothing about how to do it. Okay, so have a look at lesson 2 and follow the instructions and play along with the well, it's not music actually. Play along with the exercises, and of course, I mean it's just a way of getting you to be able to play the open strings without too much screeching. Okay, I'll see you later. Hello and welcome to lesson 2 of Learn to Play the Violin. This lesson is going to be about trying to make the violin sound like a violin as opposed to like a screeching cat, which is what all of us do when we first try to play.
Probably even Yehudi Menuhin, when he first picked up his violin, didn't get a very good sound. And most of the people that buy a violin will not buy an expensive one, but will buy something like this. This is a £40 violin, which is bought from a store. It's not great, but it's great to learn on because it gives you an idea if you're going to like to play the violin. The bow again is not great, but it's okay to use when you're starting to play. Now when you actually pick up your violin for the first time, having tuned it, you're probably going to sound a bit like this. You need to practice the violin using the correct methodology. And this methodology really is to start by practicing a little bit at a time and learning to get the sound out of the open strings. Obviously you need to tune the violin up. And if you go to my site, which is underneath this video, on the home page there's an online tuner which can make you tune the violin up to get into the correct tuning for playing. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to start by holding the violin under our chin and drawing the bow over the strings. The bow should be drawn in the center between the bridge and the fingerboard. You need to get a good rhythm, and because rhythm is important with music. So what we need to do is to start by doing a very simple exercise. No hand on the strings, just the bow. If you've got your violin, you can play along with us. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. The bow should be straight, slightly angled maybe with the string, and there should be a certain amount of pressure. It's difficult to explain how much this pressure should be, but what will happen is if you practice, you will find that pressure. Don't practice for hours at a time and get really bored with the instrument. Do a little bit, then when you're not bored and still want to play, stop and then come back again another time. Do this every day, maybe 5 minutes a day. In the morning, 5 minutes after lunch, any time that's convenient. The next stage is to actually go a little bit faster, and we're going to do this now, counting 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. it together, four at a time. Count it in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another exercise that you can do is to draw the bow from the bottom to the top, very slowly. Try and maintain the sound. Now go back down with an upstroke. Okay, so that is how to get sound out of your violin. It's not easy at first, but if you practice, you'll get it. Because everybody does. And try it for a week. 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Don't play until you think, oh God, I can't play anymore. Just play and then put it down, go and do something else. And then come back for the third video, which will be about being able to use your fingers and to play simple scales. Okay, thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to you coming to visit my site again. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was lesson 2, and I hope you got something out of it, at the very least that you enjoyed it. We're going to do a lot of these lessons, so don't worry. We're going to look at how to get a sound out of the violin, to actually playing a couple of tunes. I really enjoy the Irish tunes, but we'll probably play a few different styles, though we're not going to be playing classical, because even though I was classically trained, I never really enjoyed playing classical music, and enjoyed the violin for the first time when I got an electric violin and started to play Irish music. Okay, strictly speaking, Irish music shouldn't be played on electric violin, but what the hell. So that's the end of the lesson, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, press like and subscribe. And I hope to see you next lesson, which will be lesson 3, and we're going to carry on with the same theme of trying to get some notes out of the violin. But until then, goodbye from me, and speak to you soon.